live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
A very good evening and welcome to the national news telecast of the most prestigious channel in Sri Lanka. Bringing the latest updates from home and across borders, I'm Vibhuda Vijay Bandara.
A very good evening to you. I'm Sharifa Tahir. Let's take a look at the headlines.
Sri Lanka Customs record its highest income within a day. Police permitted to interrogate the 6 suspects including Ishara Sewandi for 72 hours in detention. Sri Lankan Prime Minister holds negotiations with the Indian Foreign Minister during her official tour of India. The intensive maternity care unit and the new ward complex building of the Dizoiza Maternity Hospital handed over to the public. Former Test cricketer Jayananda Warnavira is no more. And in news overseas, President Donald Trump says that the Indian Premier promised to stop buying oil from Russia.
We now move on to those and other stories in detail, taking a look at local news first. Police has been permitted to interrogate Ishara Sewandi, who was brought back to the island from Nepal for 72 hours in detention.
Now, this order has been issued as per the request made by the Colombo Crime Investigations Division from the court. Ishara Sewandi and other suspects were brought to Sri Lanka on UL 182 flight from Nepal under security provided by both Sri Lanka and Nepal. Later, she was handed over to the Colombo Crime Investigations Division. Ganemula Sanjeeva, considered an organised criminal, was assassinated at Halfstop Court Complex on the 19th of February this year when he was taken to the court from Busa prison. The shooter entered the court in the guise of an attorney at law and conducted the firing. Ishara Sewandi was alleged of aiding and abetting in the assassination. It has been revealed during the investigations that she brought her firearm hiding in a copy of the Criminal Procedure Code. She was in hiding after the incident and the police had announced a monetary reward to anyone who provides information regarding her. Mother and the brother of Ishara Sewandi have also been taken into custody in this connection. Meanwhile, Kehel Badara Padme and several other organised criminals were also taken into custody in Indonesia. According to the information revealed by them, it was confirmed that Ishara Sewandi had fled the country. Accordingly, she was issued a red warrant and was also taken into custody during an operation conducted by the Colombo Crime Investigation Division, assisted by the International Police. Another accomplice of her and 4 other persons who aided and abetted her are amongst the persons taken into custody.
Sri Lanka Customs recorded its highest income, a sum of 2,470 million rupees within a day yesterday. The customs had earned an income of 1,867 billion rupees during this year until yesterday. The Director General of Customs stated that the target of 2,115 billion rupees provided for this year to the customs will be easily surpassed.
Now, Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya met Indian Minister of External Affairs Dr. S. Jaishankar today. They discussed India's continued support to Sri Lanka and strengthening the cooperation, digital transformation and further strengthening the multifaceted partnership between Sri Lanka and India. Prime Minister Dr. Amarasuriya commended the support extended by the Indian government for development programs, including projects related to trade, financial cooperation and education. She also appreciated India's assistance given to Sri Lanka in this challenging period. She added that Sri Lanka expects to act cooperatively with India as a close neighbour and a long-term partner in the region. The Premier also expressed views on Sri Lankan government's development agenda, digitalizing, technical exchange, innovation, infrastructure development and many other sectors. She also explained Sri Lanka's special opportunities prevailing for India investments in many fields. This is the first Indian official visit after becoming the Prime Minister. Sri Lankan High Commissioner Mahishini Kolonne, officials of the Sri Lankan High Commission in New Delhi and Indian senior officials warmly welcomed the Prime Minister when she arrived in New Delhi. During the visit, the Prime Minister is expected to hold talks with Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi and several other political leaders. Prime Minister Dr. Harinama Amarasuriya will also deliver the keynote address of the NDTV Global Summit 2025. During the summit, global leaders, policymakers and think tank leaders will have discussions on international challenges and future developments. The Prime Minister, as the Minister of Education, Higher Education and Vocational Education, will focus attention to expand cooperation in education, innovation and technology sectors. She will also visit the Indian Technology Institute and Development and Research Institute. She will engage in a tour at the New Delhi Hindu College where she had her higher education.
Attorney at law Gunaratna Vaninayaka appeared before the Western Province South Crime Division this morning under an order issued by the Mount Lavinia Magistrates Court. Lawyer Vaninayaka appeared before the courts yesterday with regard to an incident which occurred between him and a police officer who was on duty at the Mount Lavinia court premises. There, the magistrate ordered to release him on 2 personal bails, each worth 500,000 rupees. He was also advised to not influence complainants. The magistrate also ordered him to give a statement to the Western Province South Crime Division today. Accordingly, following an interrogation nearly 3 hours, he left the premises. The case is to be re-summoned on the 17th of November. The stock of parcels alleged to be narcotics which were discovered by the Sri Lankan Navy while floating on the sea off southern coastal belt was brought to the Colombo Magistrates Court. Officials of the Anti-Narcotic Bureau submitted the parcels to the courts under heavy security. In response to the request made by the Police Anti-Narcotic Bureau, Colombo Chief Magistrate Asanka S. Bodaragama have given permission to present them to the government analyst. Colombo Magistrates Court today ordered to release former Executive Director of the State Engineering Corporation, Nilu Dilhara Vijayadasa, on bail. He was arrested under the charge of causing a loss of over 1.6 million rupees to the government by misusing state resources to carry out repairs at the UNP headquarters, Sirikotha, in 2019. The suspect was ordered to be released on 2 personal bails, each worth 1 million rupees, and he was also banned on foreign travels. The complaint is to be resummoned on the 9th of December. The Sri Lanka Customs today informed Court of Appeal that vehicles detained for being imported from countries other than their country of manufacture under letters of credit opened in Sri Lanka may be released subject to specified conditions. Around 15 fundamental rights petitions filed by vehicle importers seeking the release of vehicles detained by Sri Lanka Customs were taken up before the Court of Appeal today. Accordingly, the appeal court ordered to summon the case again on the 22nd of this month to take a decision on settling the relevant petitions.
With the onset of the rainy season, sudden floods in urban populated areas has become a major problem. Thousands of people are adversely affected due to this situation. The following feature is regarding the occurrence of sudden floods in the country.
Sudden floods occurred in the Colombo city and other densely populated areas has become a rampant feature during recent times as far as disasters are concerned. A wide attention has been paid regarding this matter by the World Bank, aid institutions and institutions concerned with natural disaster prevention. The occurrence of such sudden flooding is gradually increasing.
Because normally we plan for 100-year floods, but there are 2 things that we do and the climate do is influencing that processes. One, all of a sudden we get a lot of rain. Earlier when we were small, there are like 2-3 days slow rains, but right now we get like everything in 1 hour. So that is one, that is climate change. The other one is what we do. Now for example, in a normal natural setting, the water falls on the ground and it goes into groundwater or surface water bodies, streams slowly. It doesn't go all of a sudden to the traffic light and flood the road. So now we have done a lot of paving, lot of tar, lot of concrete and modified our surfaces. So this flash flooding is becoming a common incident in all urban settings. So what can we do? Now, there are urban regulations that you have to install rainwater harvesting tanks in each housing design. If you do that, we reduce the water coming onto the road, and you can use the water in recycling or any other uses. On the other hand, we can encourage the water to seep into the soil rather than running over land. So that is we call runoff. We stop the runoff and induce the seepage so that we can avoid the water coming and collecting on the ground. So now how can we do? Individually we can adapt those in our gardens, our houses and all that, and at the same time the municipalities, the government needs to pay attention when you do large infrastructure and roads and bigger things, so that you also manage the water cycle and the water drainage and pay good attention. So we call it the disaster risk reduction, and in disaster management there is a saying that don't invest on disasters, invest on resilience. So that is a good way to work and build our plans and build our future, so that the plans are climate proof and also we don't face these flash floods in urban settings.
Minister Dr. Nalinda Jyothisa says that steps will be taken to commence intensive maternity care units at Kandy and Anuradhapura hospitals too. The minister made these comments on the occasion of the opening ceremony of the 4-story building complex and the intensive maternity care unit of Desoisa Maternity Hospital in Colombo. This intensive maternity care unit and the new ward complex building have been constructed to provide a safe and advanced health service at the Desoisa Maternity Hospital for mothers. The minister also held an inspection tour after the opening ceremony. A sum of 249 million rupees has been spent for the construction of the intensive maternity care unit. The ground floor consists of 10 specialized beds, while the first floor consists of 24 pre- and post-antenatal beds. According to Secretary to the Ministry of Health and Mass Media, Dr. Anil Jasinger, maternity deaths in Sri Lanka are fluctuating and this situation has to be brought under control. These facilities are being provided to assist the progress in maternity health in the island. Minister Dr. Nalinda Jyothisa emphasised that it is expected to commence intensive maternity care units at Kandy and Anuradhapura hospitals too. 17 mega projects in the hospital system will be completed and the cabinet approval has been obtained for this purpose. If the project is to be completed on time, it will cost only 29 billion rupees and according to new evaluations, it will become 58 billion rupees. All projects will be completed by the 31st of December 2027 and in addition, there will be 12 new projects and will be completed as expected.
And now we move on to some development news. The 3-storied building constructed at the Hettimula Mahavidyalaya in Kerala was vested with the students yesterday under the patronage of Minister of Environment Dr. Dhammika Pattabandi. A sum of 15 million rupees has been spent for this building. Parliamentarian Gangani Athauda and Sunil Jayanta Navaratna were present at this occasion. The dilapidated Robert Pereira Avenue of the Nandua in Kaluthara has been developed by laying concrete. The 70-metre-long road project cost 1.5 million rupees. Kaluthara District Parliamentarian Nandana Padmakumara and several others inspected the development work of the road yesterday. A program to release fish fingerlets into the Arukpiti Reservoir in Akuregoda was held yesterday under the first stage of the reservoir development project. A tree planting campaign was also conducted in line with this project. Deputy Minister Dr. Kaushalya Aryaratna, Parliamentarian Asita Niroshan and several others were present at this occasion. The recipient of the beetle cultivation project at the Palapolua Grama Seva division in Galigamur were provided with beetle plants and other tools at a ceremony held in Palapolua temple premises yesterday at a cost of 4 million rupees. Minister of Rural Development Dr. Upali Pannilage, Kerala District Parliamentarian Kanchana Velipitiya and many others were present at this occasion.
The Russian Energy Week 2025 got underway today in Moscow, bringing together global leaders and industry experts to shape the future of the energy sector. Sri Lanka is among the participating nations, highlighting its growing engagement in international energy cooperation.
Leading the Sri Lankan delegation is Minister of Power and Energy Kumara Jayakodi, accompanied by the chairman of the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation. The three-day forum, which runs until October 17th, focuses on key themes including energy transition, innovation and global energy security. According to the Ministry of Power and Energy, Minister Jaikodi is expected to meet with the Russian Deputy Prime Minister during the visit to explore new avenues for collaboration between the two countries.
Especially in Sri Lanka now we have initiated many ways to face the energy transition, especially in that energy mix. We have already introduced that renewable energy that we are now experiencing nearly 50% out of our energy requirement from the renewable energy, mainly hydro, solar and wind. Little amount of that bioenergy also there. And further we are trying to initiate that hydrogen, green hydrogen production through the energy. And for energy mix, especially we are trying to add the part of the LNG as the transition fuel. For that one, we are now finding out infrastructure developers. We have now LNG operated nearly 1,000 megawatt plants in Sri Lanka. Actually, our plan is to increase our renewable energy percentage up to 70% when 2030, and the next target is net zero target in 2050. That is our main targets.
We'll be back with more local stories after a break.
Live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Welcome back. Moving on with more local news. The Maritime Conference Voyage Sri Lanka 2025 was held successfully in Colombo under the theme Unlocking Sri Lanka's Blue Economy Potential. Minister of Industry and Entrepreneurship Development Sunil Handunetti was the chief guest at the second edition of the Maritime Conference Voyage Sri Lanka 2025, organised by the Sri Lanka Export Development Board in collaboration with three stakeholders from the public and private sectors. The aim of this conference is to highlight the potentials of Sri Lanka as a global marine hub and its contribution for blue economy. Ministers Aruna Karunatilaka and Dr. Anil Jayantha Fernando were present at this event. Representatives from the Asian Development Bank, International Marine Organization, United Nations Development Programme and several other stakeholders were also present at this conference. Minister Sunil Handunetti said that emphasizing Sri Lanka's geographical location is advantageous for the maritime industry. He highlighted that infrastructure development plays a crucial role in leveraging this advantage. He stated that the ministry is working on formulating necessary policies to achieve international competitiveness in the maritime industry.
We now move on to more local news items in brief. The fifth Trade Policies Review of the World Trade Organization commenced yesterday in Geneva, Switzerland. Sri Lanka had the opportunity to discuss the economic development goals, focusing special attention on trade tariff services and investment policies. Minister Vasant Samarasinghe has joined the event representing Sri Lanka. The session will end tomorrow.
2025 reflects its government came to office in November last year with the strong public mandate.
88 bus conductors and 8 passengers have been fined under the charges of non-issuance of tickets and not obtaining tickets respectively in the Western Province. The passengers who did not obtain tickets were fined with a charge of 100 rupees and the double of the charge of bus fare. During the past 15 days, 2,033 buses have been checked. 2 drug addicts who robbed gold jewellery have been taken into custody under a special police operation. Padalgama police say that gold jewellery worth nearly 2.5 million rupees, 3 motorcycles and stock of narcotics have also been seized in their possession. An experts committee has been appointed to make recommendations for the enhancement of quality of the courses in the Vocational Technology University. Dr. Janaka Jalat is the chairman of the relevant committee. Secretary to the Ministry of Education, Nalaka Kalueva, has made this appointment. Sri Lankan Airlines won the South Asian Travel Award as the leading airline in the South Asian region for the third time consecutively. Sri Lankan Airlines maintained direct flights to 33 destinations in 21 countries.
Now, the new court building in Puttalam was handed over to the public yesterday in a function led by Minister of Justice and National Integration Attorney at Law Harshana Nanayakara.
A sum of 202 million rupees has been spent for the construction of the new court building in Puttalam. According to Minister Attorney at Law Harshana Nanayakara, the objective of this is to deliver justice more efficiently to the public. The Minister Attorney at Law Harshana Nanayakara said that under the present government, all necessary facilities will be provided for citizens and professionals to ease their duties. The procedure to provide online evidence in the Criminal Procedure Code is now being implemented. Negotiations are being conducted at present with the UNDP and a number of other parties. Screens will be provided within a few months to high courts and magistrates' courts throughout the island. The minister also engaged in an inspection tour after declaring the new court building open in order to find out its requirements. Attorney at Law's officials of security sectors and other officials joined the occasion. Meanwhile, Minister of Industries and Entrepreneurship Development Sunil Handunetti yesterday paid a visit to the proposed site for an inspection where the new single super phosphate fertilizer production factory will be constructed. The new factory will be constructed at a plot of land owned by the Ports Authority located at China Bay in Trincomalee. The minister later joined a discussion held at the Trincomalee District Secretariat regarding the improvement of infrastructure facilities at the proposed site. 75 persons were given permanent deeds yesterday, solving the problem of the ownership of land deeds remain unsolved for a long time in the Anuradhapura district. The function was held under the leadership of Minister of Housing, Construction and Water Supply Dr. Susil Ranasinghe at Anuradhapura Cooperative Auditorium. Cheques to the value of 150,000 rupees each was handed over to 38 persons yesterday under the first stage of providing 1 million rupees as housing aid. Cheques for housing loans were also handed over to 13 applicants by the minister. Meanwhile, Deputy Minister of Education and Higher Education Madhura Seneviratne conducted an inspection tour at the Wataraka State Printing Corporation, Padukka. The Deputy Minister held a discussion with officials regarding problems faced by the employees and the efficiency of the institution. The Minister of Ports and Civil Aviation, Anura Karunatilaka, held an inspection tour at the eastern terminal of the Colombo port in the morning today in order to review the construction work in progress. The construction work of Stage 2, which commenced in 2022, was conducted at a slow pace. The construction activities of the second stage has been expedited under the guidance and supervision of the new government. The minister stated that modern technology and container handling will be carried out fully automatically in the future at this terminal. A number of government officials and engineers were present on this occasion.
Former veteran cricketer and a leading off-spinner in the 80s, Jayananda Varnavira, passed away today. He was 64 years of age at the time of his demise. His relatives said that he passed away at his residence in Bokalavilla in Kandy. He was uncapped as a test cricketer in 1986 in a match against Pakistan. His final rites will be notified later. Well, that's it on local stories. We'll be back with news overseas.
Welcome back. We move on to news overseas. Now, US President Donald Trump says Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has agreed to stop buying Russian oil, but New Delhi says discussions are still ongoing, stressing that its import policies are driven by the need to protect Indian consumers in a volatile energy market. Speaking to reporters at the White House, Trump said that he had received assurances from Modi that India would hold its oil purchases from Russia within a short period of time, calling it a big stop. However, the Indian government said talks with the US were continuing, adding that Washington had expressed interest in deepening energy cooperation with India. A spokesperson said that India's consistent priority was to ensure energy security and affordability for its citizens, noting that its import decisions were based entirely on national interests. The Trump administration has also pressed Japan and China to reduce the imports of Russian oil, with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent conveying the same message to Japan's finance minister during talks in Washington. Trump acknowledged that India's shift away from Russian oil would take time, but insisted the process would be completed soon. The US has already imposed steep tariffs on Indian goods, describing them as penalties for Delhi's continued trade with Moscow.
In the meantime, a sky full of color and wonder, Armenia is celebrating flight and friendship as hot air balloons from around the world take to the skies. The 7th edition of the Discover Armenia from the Sky International Hot Air Balloon Festival has begun in Yerevan, turning the capital into a floating spectacle of color and excitement. The skies above Yerevan lit up with dazzling shades as the International Hot Air Balloon Festival lifted off on Monday, drawing participants and visitors from across the globe. Footage shows balloons drifting gracefully over Armenia's breathtaking landscapes, with pilots firing up gas burners to send them soaring high above Mount Ararat and the city skyline. Participants described the experience as unforgettable and saying it's insanely beautiful and that they want to come back again and again. GMB Aero CEO Andrei Yermoloyev said the goal is simple: to make people happier and to share the beauty of Armenia from the sky. Organized by the Armenian Ballooning Federation, the week-long festival runs until the 15th of October, featuring around 20 balloons from 10 countries, with multiple flights scheduled across several Armenian cities. Moving on to sports news, the match between Sri Lanka and South Africa in the Women's World Cup One-Day International Cricket Tournament will be played tomorrow at the R. Premadasa International Cricket Stadium in Colombo.
Now, the Sri Lankan players participated in training sessions at the CCC grounds today. The Sri Lankan team have participated in 4 matches in the Women's World Cup One-Day International Cricket Tournament so far. They were defeated by India and England, while the matches against Australia and New Zealand were abandoned due to rain. Accordingly, Sri Lanka women's team haven't recorded a victory so far in this tournament. Although the match with New Zealand was abandoned due to rain, Sri Lanka's women's team, batting first, displayed their skills. The match against South Africa will commence at 3 p.m. tomorrow. And with that, we end today's national news telecast. We'll see you again tomorrow. Signing off for today, I'm Vibhuti Vijay Bandar alongside Sharifa Tahir. Good night.
Good night.